We are now talking about the suit of orbs, which in the Rider-Waite-Smith is the suit of pentacles, and in the Thoth deck, the suit of discs. An orb is a concentrated amount of power and energy that you can manifest into material work product. This is when your life force produces something tangible. The orb here also represents the globus cruciger, the orb for manifestation of the worldly nature. The suit of orbs corresponds with the element earth, and here we see all things in the universe with physical form. This is the tangible world. This is the physical currency and capital that the human world is run on. In terms of the three modalities, key 15 is the cardinal Capricorn, key 5 is the fixed sign Taurus, and key 9 is the mutable Virgo. The element earth corresponds to the suit of tarot pages, which I've renamed to strongholds because when reading with the SKT, strongholds always bear messages about what manifests, what has manifested, or what will manifest. For the ingredients that make up the holy anointing oil, earth and the suit of orbs corresponds with cassia cinnamon. Ceylon cinnamon, if you recall, is the element fire. The flora with divine sparks connected to the angelic messengers of the veil is the apple blossom, as pictured on the stronghold of the veil. I've titled the Ace of Orbs Bread of Life. So no matter what part of the world you go, seriously, the basic recipe for bread in any culture is the same. 4 ingredients: flour, yeast, water, and oil. Yeah, sure, if you want to get fancy, you add salt, sugar, and all sorts of other goodies, but the basic recipe is those 4 elements. You kind of see where I'm going with this, yeah? 4, fifth element is heat or divinity, spirit to fully bake the bread. Bread gives us life. This is the material product of our labors, which then in turn feed and nourish us and those we love. Anton Corté-Jablon and Alphys Levy both talked about the Two of Coins, or in the SKT deck, the Two of Orbs, as representing the magnetic forces of this universe that can be manipulated by the mind and perceived by our psychic senses. Now, admittedly, if you can't already tell, I took that kernel of an idea and ran with it for the nocturnal in a radical direction that's very different from the Rider-Waite-Smith interpretation of the Two of Pentacles. Here, I am mixing elements of key 10, Wheel of Life, and key 1, the Magus, doing some Benebell math where 1 plus 1 is 2 for the Two of Orbs. This is the card of the Great Medicine, the Black Dragon's Venom. Past suffering sires future opportunity. On a mundane level, this is about investing today to yield greater return tomorrow. On a spiritual level, this is pain suffered during life to yield salvation and deliverance after life. Then we have the Mason, the Three of Orbs. If the Archangel of Mysteries from the Empyrean Courts is the guardian angel or divine spark of the Spirit Keeper's Tarot deck, then the Mason memorializes the conception of the deck's architecture. If the Nocturne is burning the midnight oil and suffering the toils of dark nights as investments for a brighter future, then the Mason is validation. The Four of Orbs does have elements of familiarity from the Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's also pretty thothy, yeah? The Conservator is the spirit of efficient construction. As above, so below, this is also representative of the building blocks of life. You have the 4 elemental building blocks pictured there, and then our goat friend here is also within a building block. So the 4 is always the 1, and we multiply on and on to produce the physical universe. The vagabond is soul searching. This is someone lost without a sense of clear identity or clear spiritual path, and yet the temple is within sight. You just don't know how to cross the threshold to get to the other side. The hooded guy is also looking away, if you can tell from the illustration, and so here I'm trying to depict someone afraid of his or her own shadow. Finally, the Six of Orbs, the Giver. Both Crowley and Waite were inspired very much by the literature and art of their times, which they expressed in the specific symbolism for their cards. I've done the same thing here. Anyone familiar with that 90s novel, The Giver by Lois Lowry? The Six of Orbs here and the earlier Six of Chalices, The Memory Keeper, pay homage to that book. For the Six of Orbs, I wanted to illustrate that the giver is also always a receiver, and the receiver is also always a giver. There is a divine karmic balance here in all material works. Let's talk about the Seven of Orbs and Eight of Orbs. I wanted these cards to be kind of similar, so you can tell there's a continuity here. The gardener can only perceive the tree, and while there is a perfected work potential in mind with great promise of fruition, actual achievement at this point is still intangible, not concrete, not harvested. The journeyman perceives the forest through the trees and is hard at work at production. And this is an apprentice at the cusp of becoming the master because past hard work is paying off. Next, we have the Nine of Orbs and Ten of Orbs, both some fancy wealthy cards, yeah? Here I did not stray too far from classical RWS card meanings. There's even the snail there in the Nine of Orbs as tribute to Pamela Coleman Smith. The Suit of Swords from the previous video in this course series depicted conflict, the strife that comes with the pursuit of glory, both the light and the dark side of conquest. Here, the Suit of Orbs is about how that light and dark of conquest materializes into physical form, the work product after conflict. So now we've covered the majors and gone through all the minors. The next video lecture in this series will give a theoretical recap of the minor arcana. Also, don't forget that you've got the Medium White Book, a free 200-page download of all card meanings for anyone, beginner to advanced, to use when reading with the Spirit Keepers Tarot. I have intended these card meanings not just to be a reference guide, but also to function in a form of bibliomancy, where the voice of spirit will speak through the text and the card reading. The Book of Maps comes only with the premium package order, but it's a 740-page book with minimal overlap with the Medium White Book, which delves into all the crazy esoterica behind the Spirit Keepers Tarot.